Yeah, that's incorrect. I was incorrect. Okay, folks, listen up. Okay. How many people we got? Is it 5:45 yet?
Yeah.
5:42.
You say that's a wrap.
Okay, what I got? Let's see, count off here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21. Okay, 7 people per team. Okay, we got 5 here. We need 2 more to go this way.
We got 2 more coming. We're good. They're outside. They wouldn't get smoked or something.
Okay, well, I didn't count them, so
Okay.
turn off the other, please.
Oh, I didn't know it was on.
Okay. 7 people per team. When other people come in, then they'll go to their team. 1 team here, 1 team there, 1 team here. 7 people per team. So divide up. If you're at a table without a setup, you need to go.
We're going to go over there.
All right. 7 people per team. This one needs 2. That one needs 4. This one needs. Wait. 7 people per team.
Going pretty good. It's going pretty good.
1 more here.
No problem.
Okay, one of you, one section, one.
Bro, look at the bottom of this.
Whoa! Subway, dudes, bro.
Okay.
Hey, Kevin.
Can you listen up, folks? Okay, maybe I should get the microphone here.
Thanks.
Okay. What we got set up here, if you'll turn to, okay, I know you've been reading while I was setting up the first page, page 193 of your lab. Okay? You'll see there volts are defined, currents defined, amperage is defined, resistance is defined, ohms are defined. Ohm's law is talked about in 2 different forms. So that's, hopefully you've read that, you know that. If you turn to the second page, page 194, I've set up your circuit according to this. Adjustable power supplies on the bottom. Now, I don't have a voltmeter external because this has a voltmeter internal. So you don't need a voltmeter. So that's missing here. I do have an ammeter set up over here, and I don't want to leave it on too long because it runs out of the battery. So let's start moving. Now, what you'll do in the lab, I put a resistor on there for each of the circuits. And what you're to do is fill in this table on page 197. Now, there's an identical table in 198. The first one that's in there is the 197 table. Everybody see that? Okay. It says, going back to page 194, it says you will adjust the DC power supply as instructed by your laboratory instructor, obtaining 6 values for voltage and current using the supplied resistor. Okay? Let me tell you what volts to shoot for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 volts. Now, some of these voltage sources drift a little bit, so you might have a hard time getting them to stabilize. Get it as close to those values. If it's 1.1, put 1.1. If it's 2.9, put 2.9. But whatever it is, get as close as you can to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And while you have it at a fairly stable voltage, read your current. Now, what you're reading on the current, if everybody will pick up the ammeter, you'll see that it's on a 20 milliamp scale. That's the maximum that you get to. So what you're reading on there is milliamps. You need to record the current, though, in amps. How do you do that? How much? How? Second? Okay. If it reads, I'll just give you a number here. Listen up. Okay? It's reading right now 9.31. That's 9.31 milliamps. Yes, 3 places to the left. So that would be 0.00931. Does everybody hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. Move the decimal place 3 places to the left. You record your current in amps. You're reading it in milliamps. Record it in amps. Does that make sense? Okay. So you got your setups. I've got it somewhere close to 1 volt, but not on the money. You adjust it as you need to. When you get it close to a volt, record the voltage, record the amp, and move on to the next one. When you get them all done, then let me know. Any questions? Any questions? Okay? All right. I'm going to put this on pause. What's that?
I think we have to find all 6.
All right. Now, now, all 3 teams are recording the value of a resistor and, I'm sorry, you've got your 6 voltages and 6 currents, right?
Yes, sir.
And you've measured the current, you read them in milliamps, but you converted them to amps.
Yes.
Moving 3 places to the left, okay? Now, seems like to me, okay. So what you do now is I'm going to take up your, you already had it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I'm going to take up your resistor and give you a new resistor.
Are you gonna tell us what that resistor was?
I will tell you in a minute. You want to finish on 6?
There's a bill going to pass every page in the state. I can't show page until it's bill passed.
But once the bill passes, right, we just have the bill to slide.
Yes, sir.
Now, you've got a new resistor on there. Start over and try to get the same 6 voltages or somewhere close to it. Can you do that in a second?
Y'all wanna try?
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Okay, do the same thing with these. Okay. Only this time you use the next table. Flip the page over and use the on page 198, table 22.2. Okay, you'll have to adjust your ammeter again, probably.
Hey, can you go to the next?
Okay, now they're doing their second resistor. Okay, have all 3 teams finished the second resistor? Yay or nay? Yeah? All 3 teams? Okay, turn off your voltmeter, turn off your ammeter, and I'll come take them apart, but turn everything off. So the ammeter is showing. Oh, they're not through yet? Okay, go ahead. Okay, I thought everybody was through. You finished yours? Okay, I'll take that to this. I'll get it to you in a second.
Hey, you might need to unlock it for you to restart it, actually. That's like 5 minutes. I think you're supposed to count.
You're off. Good.
6-1-6-1-6-1.
Oh, that's a really hard password.
Okay. Okay. As soon as the third. All right. We're ready to proceed.
Yeah.
All right. You repeated procedure A with the unknown resistor, recorded the data in table 22.2. Everybody got it, right?
Yeah.
Now, listen up. With your data that you collected on page 197 with the first resistor, okay, you are to graph the 6 data points, placing the current on the horizontal axis and the voltage on the vertical axis, okay? Now, I want you to give me just a sampling of your range from highest to lowest. Your volts should have been from 1 to 6, right? Something close to that. What were your current ranges in amps? Okay? Okay, so I heard it.
I don't appreciate it.
Let's just wrap it up. Idea. Okay, so that's the range of 8 to 5. Okay, so 1 second.
Now you're going.
Oh.
No, I had service. Y'all saw me. I had service in like 1 second. You know, it's cool when it loses service, it just restarts itself. I don't know what would cause this to do this. Don't go anywhere.
Got him there.
Just get turned on. And I know that it's good. You know it works because it'll say add the bar pop up. It says I'm connected.
No, I told you that.
Spike it on through Android, $5. Fuck it.
I read this right here and it said,
What number you got here? Put 1 more 0 in front. Yeah, every one of those put 1 more 0 in front of it. You're supposed to do 3 first.
see right here, it says place
Oh my God, Steven, don't hear that. Steven, you over there.
Okay. Let me look at
Don't get it on my thing.
it's going from 2 to
Where are you going, right? He's gonna wrap it up over there.
all right. Now, you can do it basically just about either way you want to, but my first appraisal of it will be to put, okay, take a look everybody. I think it'll work best if you put horizontal, put it in letter form, so current down here, voltage over here.
That's often what it says in the instructions.
No, it says horizontal, doesn't it? X-axis is horizontal, and Y-axis is vertical. Voltage.
But this is also true.
It didn't even say you had to fix it.
I know.
You can turn your paper
It's like,
either way,
you know,
but I think it'll work.
It's like, hey, your phone has a problem.
you're trying to restore it, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's gonna come out about the same. Okay?
So you said voltage at the bottom?
No, voltage vertically and current horizontally.
I got it backwards. I'll do that. It's Mercedes way.
If you read what it says, it says make a graph with the current on the x-axis, the horizontal axis, voltage on the y-axis, the vertical axis. Okay? Now, so you do that and plot your points. Okay? Now your horizontal axis is going to be, you could put 0 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It fits perfectly across the bottom that way. Now, you might have to do some figuring to get your voltages to work. If you need some help, I'll come and do some head scratching with you. But try to get from max to min to max. But here's the thing, folks. I've seen people do this, not many in this class, but I've seen people make varying scales here. Don't have a uniform scale here. So one block represents the whole thing all the way. For instance, let me see some of your numbers again. On that first one, anyway. Okay. Your voltages were going here. Sorry, I said it backwards, folks. Current is on the horizontal scale. That's the one that the voltage will be vertical. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's going to do that. The current's the one that goes down here. And that's the one that I'll need to take a look at and see. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Make this.
Yeah, laser about dead. Okay, yeah. I think this through. I want you to think this through. You're a cop. You say everybody run. You say you got to run with a gun.
Everything is set. Yes.
Oh, everybody.
Very good. I forgot to bring the rulers. Let me go get the rulers. I'm going to pause this again. So again, on both graphs, the vertical scale is your voltage, and that'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 volts. Okay? Vertically. Your horizontal scale, you have to do a little bit of calculation on. The first one, at least for that group, 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04, 0.05, 0.06, 0.07. Okay, once you got your data points plotted, okay. Now when you draw your line, you want one straight line. You don't connect every point. You get the best line that you can to connect to come close to all your points. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
They're shattered.
Perfect.
Because we're wondering.
And the second one, a little more head scratching. Okay.
Because we're wondering why it takes 4 hours.
Because you sit back there in the ruler and screw that code. Fidget spinner.
Yeah, I did that.
All right.
By all means, I can't take another laser. I'll be here. You're going to do something. I'll be here for you to do it. Won't hear about it.
We'll be out there.
Just remember. Oh, yeah. From the classroom.
Yeah.
I'm going to nominate very closest. I'm not here for it. I'll be here. But I won't be in your head. I won't. But that. Remember that. Don't come down there looking.
Yeah.
I think I can be out very this way.
Yeah, well, there's drill. Okay. Now, has most everybody got both graphs done now? Are you still working on them? What's that?
Not for a dollar.
It's $1 you didn't have. The dollar store is that slow. You would have to get it. There's probably something really simple. We literally just did that. Yeah, it won't work.
Okay, on the second graph, it looks like the better thing to do on your scale. By the way, that's .002. Yeah.
Really far.
You did tell the resistance.
What's that?
You did not tell the resistance.
Okay, well, I'll give it to you. Okay. So, what you had to do on number 1, on the result, make a graph of the 6 data points from data table 22.1, and you did that. Then calculate the slope, write it on page 194, and also write it on that graph. You remember how to do your slope, right? Rise over run. So it'll be voltage over amps. Now remember, your amps are in 0.0 something another. Okay?
Yeah, that's a little inconvenient.
What is the second?
I messed up.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
fine.
it's okay. We messed up.
He's a little slow.
Slow to the left.
Okay. So calculate your slopes. If you have any trouble with that, please let me know. Once you get a slope, raise your hand and let me come see how it looks.
Okay. Maybe the ruler. He needs the ruler. Stop being that guy. Stop being that guy.
Uh-huh.
He is.
Yeah, regular big guy back.
You guys really have sense of experience.
Okay, each team did the rise over run. One team got 111 ohms, one got 102 ohms, y'all got 102 ohms, right? Their known resistor was 100 ohms. Okay? So it said on number 1, calculate the slope, write it there on number 1 on page 194. Write the resistance you got. Compare the calculated value with the known resistor with the accepted value given by the instructor. I just gave it to you, 100 ohms. Calculate the percent error. Do you remember how to do that? Excuse me, y'all listening? The percent error. Okay?
Well, it's not from, it's a strong industry. It's like a $1,500.
All right. Percent error.
I just want enough to build my.
Y'all watching?
Yeah.
Okay, the error is your measured value, 111, 102, whatever, minus the accepted value, 100. So all of you have a positive error. Divide that by the 100, the accepted value, the known value. That will give you a decimal number. Round, move 2 places, and that gives you your percent. So one of you will be 11%, the other 2 will be around 2%. Very good.
Yeah, I was thinking 30.
Anything less than 15% is usually considered.
We're just 55% from.
Okay. So everybody got your percent error?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then make a second graph, this time using the 6 data points from table 22.2. Many of you have already done that. Again, placing the current on the horizontal, voltage on vertical. You already did that. Calculate the slope and write it there and somewhere on the graph. Write it on page 195, number 3, and write it on that graph as well. Now, the question is, what is the value of the unknown resistor? Okay.
That ability right there. I don't have that right now.
Wait, let me check.
The unknown resistor was, well, you calculate your
That's a
slope
wrap.
first and then I'll tell you.
Is that a rabbit?
Anyone got a slope yet? What you got? Say again?
Shit, I just think you just.
You're like.
What's the job?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. Y'all got your unknown yet? I can tell. Oh, he has it. What you got? 406. Okay, back to 390. Really good. Really close.
The resistor was 395.
Okay? Everybody's got a slope then, right? You wrote it on number 3. Number 4, what is the value of the unknown resistor? 390 ohms. 390 ohms. Okay, you answer, listen up, you answer number 5 and 6. 5 needs to have a correct answer. 6, any good answer will do. Okay? And be sure on your page 197, that resistor, be sure to list it as 100 ohms at the bottom. And on page 198, be sure to list that one at the bottom of 390 ohms. Okay? 390. 390 ohms. Okay? Any questions? Okay, it's all right for me to wrap it up, or are there any questions?
Wrap it up.